Marco.
Sean.
You're expecting me to sing on this one?
I don't know. You kind of shoot on your own foot there. For those that don't know what this reference is, you should listen to one of the latest, actually RSA Conference coverage. Yeah, where Sean started the podcast singing, Frank Sinatra, I believe, and everybody was very impressed. So now you have to sing every time we record something. No, you don't have to.
It's not happening this time. I'm sorry, Cecilia.
I'm crushed. I'm absolutely, guys. I mean, seriously, you sing for my other colleagues, but not for me.
We will prepare something. Maybe we'll play even some music too. We'll see. Right. Not yet. We're not ready for stage yet.
That's right.
You're not ready for
not
stage?
That stage. We're ready for another stage. The RSA one. Right.
Yes, I feel like that'd be quicksand, not sandboxes. I'm not that innovative with my singing abilities, but everybody's listening. Of course, the first few moments of these, they often wonder what the heck is Marco and Sean up to when they're on together. They make no sense whatsoever, and I'm okay with that. We eventually get to where something matters, and we say something important. More importantly, our guests say something important, and I'm thrilled to have Cecilia Marinier on, joining us from RSA Conference. Hopefully, I didn't match my pronunciation of your name with my singing skills, Cecilia.
No, you did great. You did great.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you on. This is a tradition for us. Slightly different this year because you usually join Linda and Britta for our kickoff conversation, but you have some stuff that we couldn't talk about last time that you're going to share with us this round, things that have been announced, and you're going to give us a deeper dive into some of the things that you work on. I kind of like to say you bring all the fresh blood into the conference, attendees and companies and technologies and all that kind of stuff. So you're bringing the next generation in, and enough for me. I want to hear who you are, so our folks listening know what Cecilia is up to and your role within the conference that's coming up.
Well, thank you, Sean. That's a nice introduction. I do feel like I like to look at the forward-thinking ideas and products and attendees. So my name is Cecilia Marinier. I do work at the RSA Conference, and I run all of the suite of innovation programs and all of the suite of programs that are aimed at college students. So I think the easiest way is I run a lot of different programs. So I'm going to run over some highlights on it, and I'm going to stop on the innovation piece and let you guys ask questions and get any other tease out any other ideas that you think your audience might be interested in. But, RSA Conference is interested at amplifying and supporting innovation. And we do this in the multiple ways. The first is we've created the longest standing Innovation Sandbox contest. This contest is the cornerstone of the Innovation Suite. It is the place where we put a lot of attention. It is 18 years old. It has billions of dollars of investments from the companies that have been and graced the stage. Many companies, 2 companies have actually gone on to be part of the stock market. And I think over 70 companies have actually also been bought out. So it's a good testament to what's happening in the marketplace. It has identified really strong companies that are coming up. And so first off is the Innovation Sandbox contest. It happens on Monday, and it is, as I mentioned, 18 years old. So we just announced the top 10 last week. You're not behind, people. You can get there. You can learn more at the website. You can find out about the top 10 companies. One of the things that was really interesting this year was we had 150% increase in our submissions. So it was really hard for our judges to actually identify the top 10. I think I could have run probably 2 to 3 Innovation Sandbox contests with all of the talent that was in there. It's just an amazing slate of companies, very different backgrounds and where the companies are from, what they are actually addressing, which problem they're trying to tackle. So it's really worthwhile your time to just stop by the Innovation Sandbox contest and hear about it. And what we've learned, though, from the ISB, and I'll just do one more thing, and then, Marco, I know you want to talk to me about this. So what we learned about ISB is we've kind of built this up so that it's now later stage startups. And there were so many people that were interested in earlier seed investments. So we had to create another kind of contest, and we call this one Launchpad. And Launchpad happens on Tuesday. It will be in the Sandbox. And it is 3 entrepreneurs. It's a lot more like Shark Tank. So it's 3 entrepreneurs who will pitch individually to 3 venture capitalists. And I'm really excited about the venture capitalists. They're all new to the stage this year. They all have very different backgrounds, either government or, one's Israeli, coming with that whole suite of background and understanding what's happening in the Israeli market. And then Emily, who has this great background in both being a CISO and then now also into venture capital. So they come with really interesting backgrounds. They're going to ask great questions to the startups. And we just identified the 3. You haven't heard them yet. It's all still behind closed doors. You got to wait. But that's going to be announced next week. And so so those guys, I have seen the 3 companies. I actually helped coach pitch them on their dry run pitches. Great. Like, these are all solid, really interesting. Again, like, I love this. I'm so excited for them to get onto our stage. And then the final piece on this particular area is our early stage expo. And that place is going to have 50 startups that are in the space that you can come by and just meet. It's like an expo hall. And it's all different backgrounds, companies, solutions. So a cool place. Okay, wait. There's one more thing, Marco. I have to tell people. We did something else because we wanted to actually also identify, like, we had this how-to beforehand. So if you're interested in becoming an entrepreneur, we've actually put together a really cool slate of content pieces, a content suite on Monday morning before Innovation Sandbox contest. You're going to have Dave DeWalt leading a stellar cabinet of venture capitalists talking about the state of venture capital in cybersecurity. You're going to have Bob Ackerman talking to several very high leading CEOs of startups, how they had their CEO journey. And then we'll close with Katie Gray from Incutel. She's going to be leading another moderation of, like, how to get the money. So these kind of suite is beforehand. So that's how we're committed to innovation. We've done something almost every day. So hope you can join us. Stop here.
And we're done. I mean,
okay,
you just did.
That was fun. Had a great time, guys.
I can really feel the excitement. It's like, and I'm trying in my head to, how can we wrap in one question, a follow-up question, all that you said. And of course, the one I'm thinking is, what are the criteria that make you pick either for the Launchpad or for the Innovation Sandbox or the Early Stage Expo?
Or the VCs?
What are you looking at? And maybe what the VCs are looking at, actually, that is important nowadays. It's not just, hey, I got something, but I get something that works because, and that's how you pick it.
So in the submission period, and highly recommend anybody that is interested to keep on watch on that for 2024. We have, you have to actually include a lot of background pieces. So when the judges are looking at these companies, they're not just looking at the solution itself. They're looking at, like, where does the solution fit in the overall marketplace? They're looking at who's on the team. So this is for Innovation Sandbox, obviously, because they're later stage, because the idea here is, can this company actually get on the stage, win ISB, and then change the marketplace in 12 months afterwards? That's the criteria. So it's a big ask. If you look at the judges themselves, they're veterans in this industry. There is not one there you can say, oh, well, do they really know cybersecurity? I mean, you have Shlomo Kramer, who is, CEO of Cato Networks and Imperva, founder of Imperva. You have Chris Young, who is, senior vice president at Microsoft, was the CEO of McAfee. You have Nilu Hao, who has been very, very close to what's been going on in DC. So she's very close to, she sits on the board of the NSA. She has done a tremendous amount. She was also the chief strategy officer at RSA a long time ago. But, solid individuals. The other 2 are also solid. Paul Kocher, amazing. So I want to go in, I don't want to lose somebody here, but they're all amazing. They work really hard at looking at each of these companies, because the companies themselves had to submit a 3-minute video. So all the judges had to watch these videos. And so that's part of the selection process. So it's time consuming, and these judges put their hearts and souls into it. We have a couple rounds to go through, and then there's this conversation at the end, and everybody's kind of vying for, what is it they think. It is a difficult process, and it's something that I'm very impressed with, these very high. Oh, the last one was Barmack. I didn't mention him. He's the new one. And Barmack is amazing. So Barmack was the CEO of Alien Vault, and now he's at Ballistic Ventures. So long and short, like a solid bench of caliber judges that spend a lot of time identifying.
I knew you were going to remember Barmac, but I also have to mention the host, our good friend, Mr. Hugh. Hugh, I mean, talk about energy and fun and excitement. Not that the event itself isn't that, but I mean, Hugh does an amazing job pulling all this thing together and kind of keeping it rolling. I don't know, Marco, you enjoy chatting with him, don't you?
Yeah. I just want to kind of like bring you back to my question, because
sorry.
No. Again, you explain a lot
right.
your answer, but you said no pressure. In 12 months it should change the market. Okay, great. Is there like a checklist that the judges and the people that decide? I mean, again, the criteria. Are we looking at environment? Are we looking at governance? Are we looking at doing good? Is there a secret ingredient that they need to have?
So I do coach them on. I coach the startups that the areas that they need to cover are, who's the product for? What is it trying to solve? What's the problem it's trying to solve? And that has to be very tight, because honestly, we're in security and everybody has a very good idea. They're just kind of like, but they have to lay that in there.
Mm-hmm.
Then they have to say about how are they approaching the problem differently? Like, how are they innovative in this approach? And then they do have to touch on the who's in the company. And then they have to say, like, how am I going to market? How am I ready? And so those are the 4 pieces. When the judges are evaluating, they also take a look at, just the presentation itself. That is part of, like, did you come up here and were you prepared? So that does make a difference. So I think that's very much in line with trying to tell a very quick story. And I just talked to a couple of different entrepreneurs. It is hard to do in 3 minutes. You look at how much you have to cover. I mean, you have to identify who you're doing it, and then how are you different? And it's like, oh my goodness. So generally speaking, I'm like, okay, well, keep that, one slide at the very end that says, like, here's who's invested in us and how much money we've raised. And here's our, look at the 50 years of experience or whatever the company has with all the different players that are in the space. So it's a challenge to the venture capitalists, to the entrepreneurs, to actually get up there on the stage. And that is the criteria ahead of time, Marco, in order to apply. The product has to be out between 12/1 of 21 to 12/1 of 22. So it has to be within that year period. Your company has to be private. You can't be part of a large company that's like, oh, look at me, I'm Microsoft and I built this other small piece over here and I want to show how innovative it is. It has to be a standalone, privately held company. And then the other part is that it has to it has to have a novel approach and it has to have a strong team. Those are the kind of the small things that we identify ahead of time. I mean, you can take a look at the submissions. It's quite of an extensive experience for them to actually apply. So those that do I'm very grateful. The same thing for the people who are applying for Launchpad. Those guys have to include a pitch deck because they're pitching to venture capitalists. So a little bit different for those guys. They are not supposed to have their product in the market yet, or if it is, it's coming out right around when conference starts. So it's something that's very innovative in the sense that people don't know about it yet, and that it's privately held. And we're looking hopefully for seed round. Although the market right now, I don't know if you guys have been paying attention, but the money that's been going into startups has been absolutely off the charts. It's been crazy amounts of money. And I think that's good. I'm kind of curious to see if that slows down now that the price that, the interest rates have gone up, and it might be a little bit harder, especially after Silicon Valley Bank falling. We'll have to see. We'll have to see what happens. But in the last 3 years, the dollar amount that's coming into any startup, I'm sitting there trying to ask for startups that are under $1 million of seed capital. And they're like, yeah, we're at like 3 million, 5 million. And you're like, oh my goodness, it's hard. It's hard to get to that really early stage, because to get to play in this space at all, you need to have the capital behind you.
Nice. And as I attempt to trick you to list the 3 in the Launchpad, can you also include the finalists from the Sandbox, and maybe more importantly, is there a common theme or thread that runs through some of the technologies, the network, endpoint, cloud, identity. I don't know. Is there anything you can kind of pick out there?
I'm not going to try to play there, because what I can tell you is that we tried to bring in people who had different areas of solutions, so that's part of, you look at the top 10, they should be
very broad.
Very broad. So if you look at who's there, Anna Chain AI is, I know, Web3, yes, there, and Asterix, DAS, Pangea. I know these companies, but I'm going to let you go back over to their piece. I mean, I can actually take a look at what they submitted as their part of their top 10, but I would not want to actually get too deep into this, because that's not my bailiwick. And
there's plenty to read there as well.
There is.
And we will list them. We will list them. So
I will actually, I'll go to the website. I'll actually, Ben, if you can send them I'll send you the press release. Sorry. Let's focus back on you guys.
We have all that.
We got
it. So that just leaves the 3 that you're not allowed to say, but you're going to say anyway.
You think so? You want me to?
No.
When are you guys going to push this out there?
No.
I'm going to get in trouble. I haven't got the contracts back yet, guys. So until I get their contracts back, I'm hesitant to put it out there. But I feel confident. No,
it's all good. I'm playing with you. A bit of social engineering. But I want to go to the other sandbox. So there's a lot of stuff going on, not the innovation, but the one where you have our friends from the aerospace village or IoT village or car hacking village. I know you do a lot of work to pull that together too, if I'm not mistaken. So we're having conversations with a few of the villages, but maybe if you can kind of highlight some of the main attractions there, or some new things perhaps this year that may have not been there in previous years.
So I think I'm just going to lay a little foundation. So Sandbox, the goal of Sandbox, and this is now in its 7th or 8th year, is to bring on that hands-on activities, to give a space where people can go and hang out. And it's to also be attractive to people who are kind of focused on more of the actual hands-on technical aspects, or maybe they just got promoted and they're director and they're like, oh, I'd actually like to go back and play. So in the sandbox itself, we have 7 sandboxes, starting with Adversary Sandbox, which is a lot of red teaming. You have AppSec, pretty self-explanatory. AppSec Village is there. Then we have dark arts, aerospace, as you guys mentioned. I have to tell you that one fun thing. I'll tell you one fun thing I see in each of these, okay? So aerospace is, of course, I can bring some really cool stuff that you can actually try to fly. But they're also building out, they're having Boeing put in a paper plane area so you can see how far you can build your plane. So that will be really fun, and there'll be some prizes, just saying. I know that the Adversary Village are actually going to, and Dark Arts Village are actually going to do some actual labs. Like if you sit down, you can sit for 1 or 2 hours and do some red teaming with them, kind of get some real experiences there. Lockpick Village will be over on the 2nd floor in West, and that is one that anybody can join. I hope to see you guys there. I'll take pictures of you guys. But basically, they're going to come out with their locks. It's the local San Francisco chapter. But the goal there is also, we have a small stage, and on that stage, I'm really impressed with the people who we're bringing in. It's not supposed to be what you would get on the regular tracks. It's supposed to be researchers. It's supposed to be people who are cutting edge on that particular aspect. So it's going to be driven by those. And I've seen the slide decks, and I'm like, okay, we're ready to roll, because I'm excited that Jason Haddix is going to be there, for example. And Keenan Skelly, who is doing a great piece on the XR, VR world, and kind of really challenging your thought around like how we have to get ahead of that game. We can't be playing catch up in this space, especially since it's going to really be aimed at younger people. And actually, they're going to be part of the pop-up villages. Oh, and I'm having a badge that's going to be so cool. It's going to be one it's like for Badge Life, you guys will be able to have it light up, and have each of the sandboxes will have a key to have a different piece light up on the sandbox badge. I'll even send you a picture so you guys can include it in the final cut. How's that? You guys get first dibs on the picture.
Nice.
Fantastic. So as you're describing, I know you also mentioned that executives or seasoned folks will spend time in there, but I think what I like about the sandbox is it's a place to engage with others directly if you'd like
Right.
to.
It's a
and
really
see stuff and play with stuff and put your hands on stuff, and so it's a place to explore. So one might be
yes,
a network security professional and want to learn about aerospace,
exactly.
or they might be a cloud security person that wants to dig more into IoT,
Or
and then you have
ICS.
ICS,
Yeah.
and then there's I'm nothing yet, right? I haven't joined this industry yet.
Right.
This is a great place to just see what some of the different areas are, and of
It's
course not taking away from the sessions. So what I'm leading
right.
to is some of the college stuff that you do. So
Right.
bringing the younger generation in, the scholarships that you offer to help people who may not have the funds to make it there and then be part of this. Tell us a little bit about those programs, College Day and the scholarship and everything else that
I
you
like the lead in, but you left me open, and I need to go back and just say one thing about Sandbox, which is that you were talking about it's a hangout zone. So we have couches in the areas like that. We also have a coffee bar that's open all day. And then we're doing the Cyber Ops at Tuesday night. So that is a social function at conference. And as Sean was mentioning, this is a place where everybody there are volunteers, and they come in and they want to talk to you. So there's no question there. Every question there is like a great question, and everybody's excited to help you, because that's the one part about the cybersecurity industry that is such a blessing, is people want to give back. And the Sandbox space is that space where you're going to see all those people. Generally speaking, they're coming from the DEF CON villages, and they just want to talk to you. So now leading into your next question about the college students. So, in 2016, when we were looking at where the RSA Conference is basically trying to be the intersection between policy or like government and business and nonprofits and academia. Like, we're trying to play in all these spaces because we want to bring the stakeholders together to have the hard conversations. And so one area that I felt was kind of missing was the scholars area. So we created, first off, Security Scholar Program, which is like a TED Fellow program. And we asked different universities across the United States, either public, private, or they might be, government and military, like the Naval Academy, for example, to identify students that would be the thought leaders of tomorrow. And we asked them to be as creative and diverse as, where the solutions, what they're studying, what their, if they're a bachelor, master, or PhD. We wanted different backgrounds. We wanted them to be thinking about different ways. And this program has been so successful over the past 7 years. It's one of my favorite programs to offer. What we've done from there is we've asked the students themselves to share their work. So on Wednesday, we're going to have it open to all conference attendees to go see their poster exhibition. And then those that want to go see a poster pitch off, because I'm all about contests. I asked a couple of the students to actually take their work and pitch it to 3 judges who will then also give them some feedback about, what are they thinking, where are they going? And it's really cool. The students are so psyched to be doing this. They're going to be doing it in front of Ben John, in front of Ann Johnson from Microsoft, and in front of Jamil Jaffer from NSI. So, it's going to be super fun, and that's open to all people as well. In addition, because once we got that program started, similar to like Launchpad, once you see one thing, you're like, oh, I got to solve the bigger problem. So this is a curated program, and we do special dinners and ways that the students can meet each other and then meet also the thought leaders that are coming. But we wanted to make sure that more people were able to go to this conference. And so we created this thing called College Day, which is a free pass, full conference. Go to anything, any of the regular track sessions or the keynotes. You can play in the Sandbox. Or in fact, that day we're bringing in US Cyber Games, and they're going to be in the Sandbox, so you can go down and play with them. So it's a great opportunity for any student who wants to see what's happening in this space. And I'm very happy to see the numbers right now. We're trending well, people. We're trending well. So.
Well, I'm glad you said that, because that was actually going to be my kind of question. Looking back and how you came up with all this new initiative as an answer to that infamous gap, right? That we've been talking about for so long right now. Right. And so I want your feedback on, you're very positive. You're telling us it's been a very successful program. All of these are very successful program, because you're talking about the younger upcoming generation, either they're already in the industry, as Sean mentioned, or they are absolutely just interested in see if there is a future there. So Are we in the right direction? I mean, you kind of said that, but can you get deeper into that, like
sure.
overview?
So a couple of things. Last year's class for the security scholars was 50-50 women to men. And I was like, it was finally like, and I've been in this industry since 2007. I'm embarrassed to say, but let me tell you, like that was a big push on the other side. What I'm very proud about in looking at College Day now, we don't ask questions about people's backgrounds, but just based on the shirts that they're choosing, like whether they're choosing women's shirts or men's shirts, and we are offering both because I am a firm believer that you have to like give everybody the choice. We're at like 38% who are choosing women's shirts. That's what I'll say. And then, and we did a couple things to also try to solve that. So we do have 2 sessions aimed at those college students who might want to come. One is a breakfast panel where we're having 3 of our sponsors actually talk a little bit more about what it's like to work there. So that gives you an entry level, and it also gives you a chance to meet other students during a breakfast, like networking event. And then after that, we're doing a job search, resume review, So there'll be people there to talk to you about your resume. So bring your resumes and we will sit down and give you some tips and tricks on how to improve that over time. Make it better so it's more likely to pass that algorithm and land you that interview.
Let's not, this is not what we're talking about that. but it is always hanging, right?
Yeah, it is.
This decision in the end.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So as we're talking about a lot of this stuff, all, and we don't have to go down this path. All I can think of is how many posters will be Dolly generated, how many pitch decks will be Chat GPT generated. We'll see. But I'm excited to. I know the ARX XR stuff with Keenan. That's going to be good. The U.S. Cyber Games. They're always a great team to engage with. I mean, so many cool things. Sandbox, innovation, scholarships, college. Maybe as we wrap here, Cecilia, I don't know if any final thoughts for folks. I don't know, something they should do straight away if they're a newbie coming this year.
Well, I'm sure that my colleagues told everybody to go to the First Timers and Loyalty Plus session, which I think it's very hard. RSA, I'm going to say this flat out. RSA Conference is huge. There's, thousands and thousands of people. If you're coming on your own without a posse from your company, joining some of these little social networking events are very important. So I'm very much a salesperson for that first timer event. I think the birds of a feather, anytime you can get into some smaller group sections, that's great. I can tell you that at CyberOps that we are having John Strand and Jason Blanchard do their backdoor and breaches. So if you come and you don't know anybody, that's okay. You can come and play the game with them, and they're very interactive. I know who they're bringing in as, they're putting some plants in the audience to get everybody started, and they're awesome people. So come there. And don't worry if you don't drink alcohol, that's fine, because we are also doing craft sodas. I just want to make sure, it's craft beers and craft sodas. So we're trying to make it as open for everybody. So those are the kind of places to go if you want to get started. If you want to hear some highlights of like what you can't miss, I know Linda and Britta did a great job of all the keynotes. I have to go back to ISB. You guys, I expect to see all of you who are watching come in and see this, because it's going to be a great year. It's a great, great program.
They sure did a good intro and some really good advice on the first timers coming there. They mentioned what you just said, and also, and I'm going to repeat it because Sean here has been there a gazillion time. I'm on my 8th, 9th years or something, so I feel like I'm already know what I'm looking at, but I still know I'm going to get there and it's going to be overwhelming once again. So They were just giving this important, I believe, tip of make your pick before you even go there. Like, make your schedule, and then if you're pulled left and right as you're there, that's really cool. But at least you have a path to follow of the things that you really don't want to miss, because you just can't. You can't possibly see everything.
Well, I know, but you know what, Marco, the thing that I'm super happy that they're doing this year is everything will be recorded. So
Yes.
like if you go, you're not wasting your time favoriting sessions. You can favorite everything you want. And then afterwards you can go back and watch anything you want.
Yeah. And that's beautiful.
Yeah. I mean, I think that part is super cool, but I agree with you, like make a game plan, come out ahead of time, check out on Twitter, like put yourself out there on Twitter. Be careful because actually you'll probably get a lot of people like, hey, would you like to come by my, like people want to meet you. So I'll stop there. But it is a great place. And there is enough spaces where you can find a little bit of a connecting point. So like you said, in the sandbox, Sean, you mentioned this earlier, those volunteers at each of the different 7 sandboxes that are in space, plus the pop-up villages, like that place, you can definitely have a conversation. So if you haven't talked to people and you want to just connect, great connecting point. So in addition to the birds of a feather and in addition to the social events.
And there are plenty of those. And or you could be crazy like me and just wing it and hope for the
Well, Sean. That's great.
See who you see and say what you say. No, but in all seriousness, there is a reserve a seat for those sessions. A lot of them do fill up quickly, so it's important to grab a seat if you want to be in person and have some interaction with the audience and perhaps the presenter, even if they do any polls or things like that. Lots of good stuff, Cecilia. I mean, I was excited to have this conversation. I know we normally would do it all in one. I kind of like that we had this broken out as a separate chat, so we can spend a little more time on these programs. And great to see them continuing to grow. And I hope everybody hits at least some, if not all, of the things you mentioned today. I'm going to go back to college so I can get a scholarship and do college.
Come for free. Come for free on Thursday.
Free breakfast. No, but in all seriousness, lots going on there. And of course, Marco and I will do our best to continue to bring stories for RSA Conference before, during, and after. So more from the sandbox, more from the keynotes, more from presenters and panelists and other companies that are innovating in this space as well. So we appreciate you, Cecilia, and all that you do, and looking forward to seeing everybody there.
I thank you right back, guys. You guys are very much advocates and you for the industry writ large, and you've been doing an amazing job bringing good stories of the industry to people. So thank you guys for always going out there and returning the next really interesting piece about what's happening. So thank you.
Cool. And for all of those that wants to check the other stories, as after you hear this one, go to our RSA Conference 2023 coverage page. There is every conversation we had, videos, podcasts, and also what we're going to be doing there. We're going to be with some of our hosts on Broadcast Alley and record right there. So lots of things to do. Stay tuned, subscribe, share, and we'll see you up in San Francisco.